They said it couldn't be done. They said it wouldn't work. They said it would break. Well, I'll show them. I'll show all of them. With this, gentlemen, behold the world's first two-color Digimon deck.
Ramon, what in Godhand's name do you think you're doing?
Dustin, how did you find my secret lab?
No. This is the kitchen. The biggest experiments we do here is whether barbecue sauce tastes good in soda.
But listen, man, I just spent so much time and energy coming up with this two-color deck formula, and then you just come in here, and now no one will take me seriously, and I...
Okay. You wanna go and test out your new deck?
Yeah.
Sweet! I'll bring the barbecue soda.
So, I bet you're asking yourself what all this means. Well, pretty much since I got the cards in my hands, I've been working on a way to make two-color decks work, mostly because I want to be able to use certain option cards on Digimon that were probably never intended to be used on. In my attempt to squeeze out every little bit of value I could out of these card interactions, I believe I've come up with a formula that can be applied across any two-color combination in the game. And at this point, I'm sure you're all bored of my incessant chatter, so let's just jump in. So instead of going card by card like in Deck Builds Done Quick, what we'll do here instead is go level by level. This way you can see the deck in a more macro sense, and hopefully the formula will start to make sense to you. If I'm doing my job right here, you'll start to understand the way the formula works way before we even get to the level 6s. So for this video, I'm going to be using a yellow-green deck I made called Sunflower. While this isn't the first deck I made using the formula, it is one of my favorites. So starting with the level 3s, for our overall ratio, we're running 14, which I know kind of sounds like a lot of level 3s, but just bear with me. So essentially we're running 2.5 slots of one color and 1 slot of another color, which from here on out will be referred to as your splash. Anyone who has ever built a Magic deck will immediately understand what a splash is, but I'm operating under the pretense that you don't. So here in this deck, our main color is yellow, and our splash is green. Therefore, we run a total of 10 yellow level 3s and 4 green ones. I won't go too much into the reason for each individual card choice. However, the reason for the extra level 3s is because you're playing a mix of colors. You do still need to be able to digivolve over your Digitama effectively, as to not fall behind your opponent in tempo. And on that note, if we move over to our raising area, you'll see that we're playing only one color of Digitama. Yes, I've tested running 2 colors of Digitama, but that led to the splashed color of Digitama sitting in the raising area all game and providing no real value. Could I play any splash color option I wanted for the rest of the game just because it was sitting there? Well, yeah, but I also missed out on a ton of draws that my opponent was getting, and I fell behind. So in short, only use your main color when you're building your Digitama deck. Moving on from here to the level 4s, our overall number of cards is going to be 10. So for our ratio, we're looking at a 6-4 split, meaning 6 yellow and 4 green. Now as for card choice, in your main color you can use anything you want that helps achieve your main goal. Now in this deck, I noticed that yellow has a lot of good on-attack skills, so I made my choices with that strategy in mind. As for the splash color, because it's just that, a splash, there's no guarantee you're going to see a card in every level, therefore you're going to have to hard play a lot of Digimon in your splash color, which would normally suck because you're missing out on the draw, right? Wrong! There are cards in this game that make up for it. That's right, I'm talking about cards with on-play skills. Basically, the next rule in building a 2-color deck is make sure your splash color Digimon have on-play skills, or at least have some kind of beneficial ability that doesn't require any other card. So we're here in level 4. What card has immense independent value and you'd really rather not evolve over? That's right, blockers. Good. Now of course you don't have to play blockers, and there are plenty of other cards that you could play in this slot, but we're generalizing. And I like playing blockers. Plus, this leaves all kinds of room in your main color in the already cramped level 4 slot. Moving on, for level 5s our overall number is 7 and we're using a 5-2 ratio. In the top end of the deck, we're going to start to look at which Digimon are going to be majorly carrying your deck strategy. So it's a good idea to at least consider cards with good stats, such as vanillas for your splash color, and cards that provide good value on their own or contribute to your deck's overall goal. In this case, they grant on-attack bonuses. Here I went with Digitamamon for his memory borrowing skill, Magna Agumon for his inheritable, and Mistymon for his great removal skill. I know some of you may be thinking Digitamamon is a weird choice, and I would much rather play a vanilla, but green doesn't have a vanilla level 5, so... Plus, his memory borrowing skill works really well with our green level 6 combo. Trust me on this. Speaking of which, our overall numbers of level 6s is 4, and our ratio is 2-2. Listen, I know that's kinda awkward, and this deck build totally works if you just want to play one color of level 6s, but there's a combo in this deck I'd really like to use, so trust me when I say, it doesn't matter. There's not really too much to say about this slot. You really only have two options. Either you play the 2-2 split, like I have here, or you use one set of Digimon of your main color. My choice here becomes clear when you start taking a look at the options, but before we get to that, we need to talk about Tamers. Tamers I feel are the most integral part when making a two-color deck, so for those of you that don't know, the biggest hurdle when making a dual-color deck is options, because in order to play an option, you need to have a Digimon of the corresponding color, either on the field somewhere, including the raising area, or a Tamer of the corresponding color. Now, as it stands right now, you can't actually interact with Tamers. Yet. Basically, once you get a Tamer of your splash color out, you will never have dead cards in your hand. And if you couldn't tell by now, the reason you want to have at least one Digimon of your splash color in every level is to decrease the chances of you being locked out of those options. So here's the Tamer slot. We're running a 4-2 split. Now most of you know that you need to run 4-cost Tamers in some way in every deck. They're staples after all. So I opted to run the 2-cost TK and the 4-cost Mimi. Now I'm not gonna lie, Mimi's secondary skill doesn't do a whole lot, but being able to sit there and set your memory to 3, as well as unlock the green portion of your options, provides more than enough value. Let's face it, the 2-cost TK is too good to pass up on, but I will say that in different colors, you may want to use your splash color for the 2-cost slot. Or if the Tamers are good enough, even just use all of your Tamer slots on the splash color, at least so it's well represented. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for. The reason you'd want to build a 2-color deck in the first place, mixing options with Digimon that they were clearly never intended to be used on. So for our overall number of options, we're looking at 9. Here that means a 5-4 split, 5 yellow, 4 green, in case you were wondering. The yellow package here is your defensive support, using Testament to turn some of your scarier Digimon into blockers, and Strike of the 7 stars as removal. What about the green portion? Well, I'm glad you asked. Remember how earlier I said that I was using Digimon that use on-attack skills? Well, I wanted to proc those multiple times. And how do I do that? No, not blue options. Dimension Scissor. Maybe I'm leaning a little too hard into this card, but it puts your opponent in a really bad position. If they have a field of rested Digimon, you just get free security checks for wiping their board. And if they don't have anything rested, but have blockers up, it just kind of forces a damage through. I've been testing this card a lot, and I definitely feel big staple energy emitting from it, so I just built around it. It's a finisher of sorts. You drop this onto either one of your level 6s, or even most of your level 5s, and you can normally win the game right there. And that's about it. I'll throw the build up for a second. There you go. What's that? You didn't catch that? Well then, I guess you'll have to go watch my Deck Builds Done Quick episode in the exact same deck. I'll be releasing it 1 week after this one. I wanted to put this one up first because if you couldn't tell, I've been working really hard on trying to come up with a ratio that would work. Is it in vain? Maybe. Right now the card pool is so small, but once we start adding a bunch of sets, then making dual color decks will become easier and a lot more fun. But sincerely, you can apply this spread to any 2-color combination, so you can use that broken option card that you really like on that one Digimon that should not be able to use it in any way. So what do you guys think? Did you like the video? This is a big departure from the type of videos I normally make. I tried to leave out as many jokes as possible, which was honestly incredibly hard for me. So if you want to see more of these types of videos, or maybe just have a question about the ratios I use here, go ahead and leave a comment below. I typically respond to all of them. And with that, I retreat back into my lab to do the impossible. Craft the dreaded 3-color deck! Okay, thanks, bye!